Hello, welcome back. Another designing today. Designing a playable species race. It's a template, really. Another template. Another one of those things that are a little bit off the beaten path, as you might expect on my channel. We are going to be dealing with the SLAAD, or SLAAD, or whatever you want to call it. It's not a salad. Could be a salad. But anyway, I thought it would be fun to have a chance of doing this and working through and see how it would be built, and I am looking forward to seeing how this all plays out. I'm going to put up a poll. Feel free to take part in that poll if you want to. You don't have to, of course. Grab some food, some drink, make sure you're comfortable, and we're going to get started very, very shortly. In other words, pretty much right about now, actually, as it happens. So, yeah. Sit back, make sure that food and drink is ready to go, and let's get a cracking, shall we? Hi, welcome to How to RPG. My name is Fred Wheeler, and today I want to talk about tabletop role-playing games, specifically Dungeons and Dragons. We're designing for a frog, a SLAAD, a SLAADy, the demonic frog toad thing in Dungeons and Dragons. Well, what happens if the players wind up becoming one? Could that be a thing? I haven't actually done this before myself. But I do have friends who have used the SLAAD as a playable thing in their games, or at least had players' characters transform into the SLAAD through the use of implanting eggs and a tadpole. And I thought it would be fun to have something in place ready to go. So yeah, I'm going to go through my design goals for today so that you know exactly what they are, and then I'm going to go through and break it all down. So just like all the things that I do on my channel, I want to keep this, I wouldn't say this is necessarily, I guess it is a species or race, but in terms of the players, I'm not really expecting them to start off as something like this. It's something that the player character would transform into. That's the fun thing, right? So I feel like this is more like a template that would overlay and replace whatever existing race they were, okay? So I want to make sure that this is got features that are tied to the biology of the SLAAD as much as possible. I'm not concerned about balance because I don't expect this to be a balanced playable option. This is something that I don't think is offered up as a to a player at the first level. I think this is something that you implement as a dungeon master should the event arise. It's one of those things that your character's transformed, I can take control, or you could continue playing as a SLAAD. What do you think? A strange option, I guess, but fun. I just want it to mechanically work the way it needs to. So balance is not the factor I'm looking at. Generally, I try to reduce the effect of dark vision. Dark vision may be important in this situation, considering it is basically just a giant frog. Normally I would remove it or reduce it down to 30 feet. That might be something I need to leave alone. Okay, we'll see. I want to make sure the ability score adjustments allow for some choice if that sort of works. Although I'm not really sold on the idea of giving the ability score improvements to either your playable race or species or to your background like 5e is currently doing, or even to your class. I think they may be better divorced completely from all of that, frankly, just to eliminate the tendency to optimize and power game options, and maybe this is one way of stopping some of that going on. I'm not really fond of short rest mechanics. You may see a long rest mechanic, but short rest mechanics or rest mechanics are not one of my favorite things to put in place. I feel like they are quite lazy design. If you can't do it all the time, why did you put it there in the first place? That's generally my approach. I need to make sure this is going to be suitable for my group, because my group needs to agree on these changes. So if I'm going to implement it in my group, they need to agree on it. It's part and parcel of them, and they're all dungeon masters in my group. We all have a different way of doing things. So if they don't agree, then they're playing somebody else's game. It's real simple. Next, bonus actions. I'm not a fan of using bonus actions or reactions in a race or species as features. Just like I'm not a fan of including magical spells either. I don't know that that's... Sometimes it makes sense, but in this case, with SLAAD, I don't believe it would be. And it needs to make sense to me. That's ultimately my goal, is to make sure that it makes sense to me, that I think it's going to work in my group, and if it doesn't, there's a problem. Now, I am also aware, for those of you who are wondering, I'm very aware that the SLAAD is not public domain. So that means I'm probably going to rename it, okay? As you would, so that we don't upset anybody. I don't want to infringe on anybody's copyright. That's not my intention. Although I think the SLAAD is really just a rip-off of the Alien from the Alien movie. That's sort of beside the point, okay? So we'll sort of copyright it and make it something that is slightly different. That's my sort of approach ultimately, but you can call it SLAAD or whatever in your home games. You know, that's just in terms of thinking, and you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Okay, I've got a document. I have done some homework already, and I'm going to put down here, I'm going to ask you a question, and then I'll work my way through the things that I would do. What would you give a playable SLAAD? Okay. And hello, Fred. Fred Hoover's here, a patron. Thanks for being here. You've got here something about transforming into humanoid creatures. Well, it's going to be transforming into something for sure. So we'll get there. Anyway, let me get the Google Doc up so you can see it, and then we'll work our way through my ideas, and then we'll see what you guys have got to say as well. And I think that's got that. Is that working? It is. And I just need to go over to here, and I should be able to bring us over to the Google Doc. Here we go. The header's off. It's time to work. And because for some reason I think I'm getting sick again. I don't know why. We're going from winter to spring, and I don't know what it is. Change of the seasons always causes problems for me. You'd think I'd be under less stress, but actually right now I feel like I'm more stressed than I've ever been. But anyway, that's beside the point. Here we have, now we've got some lore and fluff, which I will have to change, and I will, but that's not the first thing I want to deal with. I want to deal with the mechanics of it first before we do anything else. So let's go over and have a look. So we'll go here, bold. Leave that for later. Sorry, I'll just highlight that so I don't forget, because sometimes I do. And then SLAAD traits. So we're going to go here, bold, underline. All your existing species and race traits are replaced by the following. Okay, so we're changing quite a lot. And then we have ability score increase, which again, as I said before, I may decouple from the species or race or templates completely. That's just sort of where my head is going, but I'm including them for now because people are used to them being there, unless of course you're playing 2024. So when determining your character's ability scores, increase one score by 2 points and increase a different ability score by 1, or pick 3 different ability scores and increase them by 1. Now, do I need to tie to this a requirement to pick a specific ability score improvement? And I didn't actually think too hard about whether I should have a look at the monster in the live stream. So let's just type in SLAAD and let's see what we get. I think ultimately it's going to be fine. Which one was I basing this off? I'm just trying to think about it now. It's the red SLAAD, right? Normally you transform into the red SLAAD. Blue SLAAD, red SLAAD, red SLAAD, this one. That's your sort of standard, bog standard SLAAD-y. Okay, alright, so we've got that. An ability score increase. I suppose it could be strength. I suppose it could be con. Strength or con. Why not just like decide it's either strength or con? We could have some sort of restriction going on there. I don't think it needs to be a big one. Let's see if I can and put in another sentence there. So you are an aberration. So let me see as I'm working down here. Yeah, an aberration. You are an aberration. So we can highlight, bold that. That's done. You're large size, so you grow in size. So you are going to be bigger than normal. And then your speed is 30 feet, which I believe was correct. It's weird that you've got a creature that doesn't have a swim speed, but I guess that's a question. Should the SLAAD have a swim speed? Because it's got a walking speed but no swim speed. Or do we think that the SLAAD is different enough from a frog that it shouldn't have a swim speed? Magic resistance. You have advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical effects. I think that is generally a SLAAD feature, yeah. Very strong, pretty potent. Nice and simple though, we can keep that. I've got to come back to this ability score increase. Regeneration. You regain 10 hit points at the start of your turn if you have at least 1 hit point, which is basically the SLAAD feature regeneration. Is that overpowered? Of course it is, which is why as a dungeon master you don't just say, here, pick anything you like. I'm going to include it, and I don't think I'm going to change it. I think it's going to stay the way it is. Now, bite and claw, I'm going to do some adjustments too. Languages, I don't think telepathy makes much sense, so we're not going to be using... Oh, no, telepathy is 60 feet, isn't it? Telepathy up to 60 feet. Did I have that? That's 120 feet. 60 feet. And read-write. Now, what are the languages supposedly do you have? SLAAD. There we go. So we'll just have SLAAD. SLAAD. Okay, so that's pretty simple. I don't think we need to do very much more of that. Oh, do I? Do I want to include another aspect to this? I'm just thinking. You can speak, read, and write. SLAAD. And any languages, you knew before transforming into the SLAAD. Okay. Yeah. And then you get the telepathy. I think that's fine. So it's just the ability score increase stuff, and then the bite and the claw, and then the injection of eggs so you get a tadpole growing in somebody else. Anyway, the evil laugh. The evil laugh is back. Okay. So we'll take this sentence here, copy that. I'll just use the same format that I've been using. Go up to the top. One of your ability score increases must be strength or constitution. So give them a choice. So I don't have to do both, just one or the other. Again, I'm not really completely sold on this idea as part of the race and species or templates. So, yeah. Anyway, so SLAAD. Oh, some natural attacks. Natural attacks. Natural attacks, natural weapons. We will rewrite bite and claw into that. But before I start doing that, and before I start creating another feature, which is probably going to wind up being called something like what do you call it? What's the word? Egg layer. Egg injection. Egg injection. Here we go. We'll come back to you in a second. And I'm just going to cut this piece out of this bit completely and go cut. And then, oh, this down here. And we'll be working with this very shortly, this section. But first we'll be dealing with this one. Okay, cool. So, lot done in 15 minutes. Pretty quick. Like, that was some really basic stuff, not very hard to do. Easy peasies, anybody could do it. You could do it. Easy peasies, you can make this stuff yourself. Languages. The giant frog abbreviation. Telepathy. Languages known before transformation. Yes, no, I agree. Multi-attack as froggy. Claw, bite. Natural armor in froggy form. Natural armor, no. No, because what I would prefer, I don't think that, why do we need to give them natural armor? I would prefer them to wear armor. If they've got, plate armor, then stick plate armor on a SLAAD. Why not? Let's do that. It's all good. It's fine. It's fine. But I think you're right about the languages. I get it. Giant frog aberration languages. I see. So what you're trying to do here is I see what you're trying to do here. Instead of calling it SLAAD, you want to call it something else. Where are the languages in the player's handbook? Because there's a list of languages, right? Various languages that are sort of available to you. I can never find that list of languages, but if I have a quick look here now. Oh, the text is so small on the index. Oh, my eyes. Languages. Okay, page 17, 123, and 125. Okay, let's try that. 17. Languages. Nothing there. Okay, all right. Let's try again. 123. 123. Here we go. Languages. Now I'm talking. Well, now somebody's talking anyway. Okay, so we have Abyssal is for demons. Celestial is for celestials. Deep speech is mind flayers and beholders. Draconic, infernal, fey, da. There is no really any specifically saying SLAAD. I feel like it's an aberration. I'm just going to give it deep speech. I know that doesn't sit in line with the monster stat block, but you're an aberration. Let's just make it that one. Okay. So now here's my next question for you. How would you structure the egg-laying? Now, I've never done this myself, but I do have some friends who have done it before, and they tell me there are some problems with trying to have characters transformed into a SLAAD. And it's usually because it's really obvious that there's something going on because of the SLAAD's feature, which tries to transform them into a SLAAD almost immediately. And so that's kind of throws up alarm bells to most people. And so therefore they respond, and you will never get a character transforming into a SLAAD in 5e generally, unless there's a lot of adjustment, because they know what's going on. They know there's something up. As soon as you start forcing them to make a saving throw, and they lose hit points, you put up alarm bells. If you make a saving throw and there's no loss of hit points, that's very, very different. But as soon as you say make a saving throw, that's a lot more problematic. So here we go. This is what we're going to do. I'm going to go into here in the languages before I forget and go here, right, deep speech. Okay. Going up. So natural weapons. I want to have the ability to use a bite and a claw, and I want to do, it essentially does exactly the same amount of damage, so I think we can structure it exactly the same. Its attack bonus and so forth is going to work exactly the same as anything else. And I think this is probably the natural weapons is the one I want to sort of focus on for now. And then the egg injection thing seems like a really complicated and hard thing to do, but I think it's going to be quite simple. So if I go down here, I got tentacle blasting, mind flayer stuff we did last time. This is another one that has magical stuff, but no. And I think I have in here, amongst my collection of things that we've done before, we've got something on making natural weapon attacks, where I structured it in such a way that you could do so using sort of like a claw or bite or something like that. We haven't done the tortoise. I suppose we should do the turtle at some point. Or the Goliath. I haven't done the Goliath yet as well. For those of you who don't know, those things are on the they will be coming. And I think this is the one that I'm going to copy here. So we're going to copy that one, take it up to the top, up, okay, and then down again. Too far. There we go. Right here. Paste. You can make an unarmed strike with your claws or bite with a reach of 5 feet. Now, the amount of damage, doing 1d6 plus your strength or dexterity modifier slashing damage. So what we're going to do is we're going to go here. 2 rather than 1, since that seems to be the going thing for them. As an action, you can make 2 unarmed strikes if you have nothing in your hands. This is probably not going to be what I want to put in here. I don't really think I want you to be able to claw and bite. Do I want you to be able to claw and bite in the same turn? Or will it make any difference? Well, let's have a think about that. Just a little. I'm going to just let me process that just a little bit longer. I'm not sure. Claw. Okay. As an action, you can make 2 unarmed claw strikes if you have nothing in your hands. So if you've got both hands free, you can use your claws twice. Otherwise, you get to claw or bite. As an action, you can make as an action you can make 2 unarmed claw strikes if you have nothing in your hands. Otherwise, you make 1. Otherwise you can make 1 claw attack or 1 bite attack as an action. So it's going to reward you for not carrying any weapons, either the claw or the bite. You have both claws free, you do the claws only. I think that's, I think that'll be right. Do I need to do anything else with this? I don't think so. I think that will be fine. I think that's fine. Okay, let's go to egg laying, because that is the sort of the bread and butter of this idea. That's the idea that we can inject a tadpole into you and have your character become a nasty looking creature. And okay, so egg injection. Okay, here we go. Here's the problem I find. If the target is a humanoid, it must succeed on a DC 15 Constitution saving throw. I don't think we should set the DC. is 15, no. Okay, I think we should leave that as something that you determine by a formula. Or be infected with a disease called Chaos Fade. While infected, the target can't regain hit points and its hit point maximum is reduced by 10, 3d6. So here's the problem. That is almost an immediate alarm bell for players, and they're going to lose those 10 hit points every 24 hours. So that means they go straight to the first level paladin and remove disease, because they're going to suspect it's either a disease or some sort of thing, or they need to get rid of. Okay, so remove disease. Otherwise, it's lesser restoration. Otherwise, it's some other thing that people are probably going to have access to get rid of it. So the chances are that the egg injection thing will never affect the player characters. This is part of the problem with the monster itself, not with the feature itself. So I think what we need to do is we need to change the way that this is going to work. I don't want it to work the way that the monster does. What I did notice is that AD&D had a different approach to the SLAAD. AD&D second ed edition. And I don't know about first ed edition because I didn't look in the book, but I suppose I could. And that is, you wait 3 months. There's 3 months will pass, and then, you may or may, unless you guess that you've been infected in some way, there's nothing to give away that you have been infected. So it takes a little bit of time for the egg to grow before there's a tadpole that will burst out of you, like the alien from the Alien movie or Aliens movies. So this whole thing is all very well, but it's not going to work very well the way that it's structured. So I think what we need to do is we need to rewrite it quite a bit. That's my first thoughts with regard to this. And I think it needs to be structured more like AD&D for it to be effective. Now, I've got a friend, his name's William, who's included SLAAD characters or player characters in his campaign. And he said the biggest thing is the giving it away. If you foreshadow, no SLAAD. And it's so easy for them to pick up and understand. Unless they suspect, look, I've been attacked by this thing, there might be an egg in me, and they start going through the process of like making sure that they're clean, they're going to do it for sure. So yeah, I think we need to hold off on the saving throw until much later on. I think that's probably the secret to making this work in this egg injection, rather than having it being quite so immediate. I don't think the egg injection makes sense that it affects you so quickly. Like the thing grows in you and is ready to go so fast. I know in the movies we've got to have it, work fast. I know most of the features in, Dungeons and Dragons 5e are combat focused. So they want them to be effective right then, not 3 months down the track, or your campaign might be over. You're sitting down, you're retired, you're in the tavern, you're getting pissed, and a tadpole bursts out of your chest. Okay, it doesn't matter anymore. You played through the adventure. You won. Who cares? So I get it, but if you're playing a long campaign, maybe it'll have an effect. Grapple plus bite, egg lay attempt. I successfully bite or grapple a creature. Make it a save versus grapple on a claw hit. Save versus egg at time is supposed to hatch. Egg goes on. Okay, all right. There's a lot going on there. Fred, I see what you're doing. I'm going to try to keep it simple, but I'll take what I can get from here that I think is useful. I think one mechanic to do it all. So one dice roll, and we'll leave the dice roll to much later on, rather than doing it too soon. So if the target, okay, so okay. If the target is a humanoid, and hit by a claw attack, there is a chance that a a egg is implanted into the target's body. Okay, I think that's our first thing. An egg. Oh, and as for the name of SLAAD, I think SLAAD is actually part of the SRD. I think it is. But if it's not, you will use xenomorph. So D and D 5E SRD. Sorry, people. Let's just make sure I've got this right. I'm pretty sure it was. I think there's a reason why I created this. It's part of Creative Commons, which I think is part of the reason why we can do something like that if we wanted to. Let's just check. Pegasus, PPP, we're on S. Here we go. No. Shambling mounds, skeletons, Sphinx. Oh, hang on. Maybe it's not. Skeleton, K, shambling mound, H. No, it's not. Okay. So we got to give it a different name for this to work. In your home group, it would be just called whatever the heck you want to call it. SLAAD, whatever. But if it's going to be anywhere else, it's going to have to be called something else. So that's fine. So I think probably the easiest way is to go xenomorph. It's xenomorph. Xenomorph. Here we go. We now solved our problem in terms of the name. And I will just take this and go copy, drop it down here, paste it, xenomorph. Okay, yes, that's all fine. Okay, you're right. And I believe we've divorced, oh, here we go, before transforming into the SLAAD or xenomorph. Here we go. That'll fine. That'll do. Cool. We've got that. Next, egg laying. It takes 3 months for the eggs, for the egg laid on the target host to travel in the blood to the heart and to the travel to the chest and grow into a tadpole before erupting from the host creature. Okay. Laid. Okay. It takes 3 months for eggs laid in the host, in the target host, to travel in the blood to the chest and grow into a tadpole before erupting from the host creature. Okay, there we go. So we've got that little bit going on there. So the target the target must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or be Constitution saving throw or be infected with the infected. Let's just get rid of that. While infected, the target can't regain hit points, and its maximum hit points are reduced by 10 or 3d6 every 24 hours. This whole sentence is going. This would give it away, so we're going to get rid of it completely there. If the disease reduces the target's hit points maximum to 0, the target instantly transforms into a SLAAD, and its ability to cast blah, 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 blah. All of this goes. Get rid of all of that. Bam. So we still need to have a saving throw. We need to determine how that saving throw is calculated. And I think probably the best way, I'm just trying to think in terms of how this is going to work best. The saving throw is calculated by adding your Constitution modifier plus proficiency bonus. The saving throw is calculated by adding your Constitution modifier plus adding 8 to your the saving throw DC is calculated by adding 8 to your Constitution modifier plus proficiency bonus. Full stop. I think that's correct. Okay, cool. Got that bit in. There's another line of text I think required to make this all work, and that is how do we get rid of it? What actions can you take to eliminate this? And I think okay, so implanted in this body. Okay. I think I need to change the order of this a little bit, so I will. So we'll do that. I need to move that around and then cut, and then here, and then paste. Okay, the target must succeed on a Constitution saving throw. If the target is humanoid and hit by it, there is a chance the egg is implanted into the target's body. It must succeed on a single so it will be infected. Yes. It takes. Okay, so there is going to be no sort of signs other than you got hit by a xenomorph or SLAAD, and then 3 months later egg hatches. So saving throw will have, you do the saving throw and nothing happens. So you might know whether you know you saved or you didn't save. You don't know what it's for necessarily. So unless players sort of get very suspicious and decide they need to do a full scan of your body, like how can you get rid of it? The egg or tadpole can be destroyed. By casting remove disease. What's the other one? There's another spell, I'm pretty sure, isn't it Lesser Restoration? I think it's Lesser Restoration. I'm pretty sure it is, but I'll just check, make sure I got it right. Lesser. Where's Lesser Restoration? Page. Here we go, page 255. Lesser Restoration, what does it allow you to do? You touch a creature and can end either one disease, there you go, one condition affecting it. The condition can be blind. Okay, so Lesser Restoration, then there's Greater Restoration as well. I think Greater Restoration should also be able to do the same sort of thing. Greater Restoration. Touch, positive energy, and debilitating effect. You can reduce the target's exhaustion level, blah, blah, blah. End one charm effect or the petrified target. One curse, including the target's attunement to aim at yes. Any reduction to one of the target's ability scores. One effect, reducing the... Okay. Greater Restoration. A restoration. Come on, Fred, get it right. Restoration spell. Is there still remove curse, isn't there? Is remove curse? I don't think it's a curse though. It's a disease. It's a thing that's growing in you, so it's not really a curse. So curse is not going to be a suitable way of getting it. What about heal? I think heal has... What does heal do? I can't remember. I've used it recently too, which I know I should know. If I used the heal spell recently, I should know, right? But I forget. Here we go. It is a page 250, and it says here, choose a creature that you can see within range. A surge of positive energy washes through the creature, causing it to regain 70 hit points. It's a very good spell. The spell also ends blindness, deafness, and any disease affecting the target. Okay, well that's another disease thing. So or heal spell. Okay. Okay, so that's that. What else do I need to include in here? The egg or tadpole. The egg or tadpole can be destroyed by casting remove curse, restore, restoration, a restoration spell, or the heal spell. The egg or tadpole can be discovered with the detect magic spell. And destroyed by casting remove disease, a restoration spell, or the healing spell. Full stop. Only the wish spell can reverse the transformation. I think that covers all our bases. So you would do an initial saving throw when you hit with the claws, and then after that nothing happens until the thing breaks out of you. Okay, so have I clearly made that, have I written that in so it makes sense? If the target is a humanoid and hit by a claw attack, there is a chance that an egg is implanted into the target's body. The target must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or be infected. The saving throw DC is calculated by adding 8 to your Constitution modifier plus proficiency bonus. It takes 3 months for the eggs laid in the target host to travel in the blood to the chest and grow into a tadpole before erupting from the host creature. Okay. I think I've got it mostly there. I think we've got it covered. And I'm pretty sure I've covered all the things that William was saying I needed to consider as well. I'm pretty sure. Okay, let's go and have a look at chat and see what they have to say before I start doing some fluff. And I got a little bit of time to write fluff, so I'll write some fluff. I was looking at alternative names I could use too, by the way. DM Dungeon Mastery, hello. Ah, yes, SLAAD. Yes, can we turn our player character into a SLAAD? It would be quite difficult, but we might get there. If the egg lived, yep. So we've got a saving throw to see if the egg sort of gets a chance to sort of survive in the bloodstream and then travel, and then it's going to grow in there. I don't want them to be suffering the loss of hit points with it growing in the chest. I think that's when it bursts out that then things can get bad. I mean, you could even have them transforming into a SLAAD, I suppose, rather than the egg bursting out. I'm just trying to think about how I want to do this. I still like the idea of the tadpole bursting out of their chest. I really do. You've had a baby. Anyway, I'm going to say 2 years later, started a new venture. No, because I think that's too long. 3 months. I was looking at AD&D, and they said 3 months. I got the impression that it's not a huge, it's not a woman's pregnancy period of 9 months. 2 years is too long. I think we'll leave that alone. We had a town training time between adventures to gain levels. Yeah, no, I'm aware. I use downtime a lot, but I just don't use, it's 2-4 weeks. Whatever you use is up to you. And gaining experiences, there are requirements. Let's go through the town and gain level. See, here's the problem with gaining levels by training and in downtime. I always consider to be a nonsense, Fred. Nothing against what you do, but having actually been involved in real combat, like, where you actually had to, I've been in real fights, and I studied for years the martial arts. And training is not where you learn everything. Where you really learn what you need to know is in a real fight. So if you're in a real fight, that's where you're gaining your experience. You gain experience by actually doing, what you do is you get the basics when you do training. And I always found that to be the case. So I consider them going off and fighting monsters perfectly adequate for gaining experience. But this is not a question about experience. This is more a question about how we want to make it work. This is the only way I can think of. Yeah, it is pretty interesting. There's 2 different ways you could work it. You could go with the pot and the tadpole bursting out of the chest, or you could go with them transforming into a SLAAD. And for me, yeah, I'm going to go with the tadpole bursting out of the chest, just because the Alien movie, the original Alien movie, scares the bejesus out of me. It took me years to watch that movie. I think I was in my 50s when I decided to watch it. I knew a lot about it, but actually watching the movie from beginning to end was hard. I found it very difficult. It's definitely harder than watching Jaws. Jaws always scared the bejesus out of me. I wouldn't want to go in the water after that. Anyway, I might be interested in using a monster playable class to turn the players against each other. I do this, like the werewolf, the vampire, and a lot of the other things, ghosts and zombies. I do this as a way of trying to entice the players into getting something they think would be really, really good and useful, and then letting time pass and have it turn against them, because they almost always know it's going to be a disaster unless everybody in the party is a SLAAD, or everybody is a zombie already, or everybody is a vampire. Something bad is going to happen. And yeah, it makes for good drama. It also makes for good funny stories. You have to have the right people. I wouldn't do this with people you don't know. That would be ridiculous. Anyway, let's do some of the fluff. Let's ask one more question. What else have I not considered? I'm sure some of you might have some ideas, but I'm going to go back and start doing some rewriting. SLAAD, xenomorph. So I did find another name here. The demonic poison frog, Yakana. So you could call it the Yakana if you wanted, rather than xenomorph. So we might take that name there as well, Yakana. Critically endangered, blah, 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 blah. But there's another possible name. Or the Yakana. Paste that. Yakana. Okay, cool. Let's undo the yellowing. And the xenomorph uses a parasitic method of reproduction. With a horrific developmental process. Horrific. Okay. A Zeno. I wonder if we can do both. Could we go with both? The tadpole or the transform? I think I would like to do that. That would be fun. That gives you an option. You can go either way. The thing bursting out of your chest or transform. I think that's what we need to do, because right now it's not really a playable. Well, I know this is the playable option. It's just the way that things work for other. Yeah. Okay. So let's do both. I think that's going to be more fun. The xenomorph. Xenomorph. Reproduces by implanting humanoid host with eggs tiny eggs, tiny little eggs. Let's get rid of this. Eggs. Let's do that. The infected humanoid infected humanoid transforms into a xenomorph, or a tadpole hatches out of its chest after 3 months. Okay. Yeah, 3 months. Here we go. Infected humanoid transforms into a xenomorph, or the infected humanoid transforms into a xenomorph, or a tadpole hatches out of its chest after 3 months. Blue, blah, 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 blah. I don't think we need to worry about any of that. Let's get rid of that. Retains, okay. Here we go. The xenomorph retains the personality skills knowledge and memories of the original target host. Original humanoid. That's fun. Here we go. Let's do this. Okay, so that's that little bit there. I'm going to keep that really simple, and I'm going to leave it a lot undone. And let's go back down here and find that egg laying thing. If the target is a humanoid and hit by a claw attack, there is a chance the egg is implanted into the target's body. The target must succeed on yes, got that there, or be infected. The saving throws, yes, we've got all that. It takes 3 months for the for eggs laid in the target's body to travel in the blood to the chest and grow into a tadpole before erupting from the host creature. In some situations, the host humanoid of the xenomorphs egg is completely transformed into a new xenomorph. The egg or tadpole can be discovered with a detect magic spell and destroyed by casting Yeah, I think that's much better. I'm much happy with that. That looks like it's going to work much more like what I was hoping for in the first place. I think that's going to be a nice sort of little addition to the repertoire. And let's have a look and see what chat has to say. What do you got here, Negative Space? I really like the early Alien movie games. All right, I wish they were weren't horror movies, so I could see them. I think there's look, the Alien movie and the Aliens movie and the franchise. I think that it's like the Terminator. They should have been horrors. They're horror movies. I'm not a fan of horror movies, but I get it. Hello, Pale Rider. How are you? Nice to have you here. We'll be in and out, mainly wanting to hit the like button. No problems. Okay, let's. I think I've done what I needed to do with this. Let's go over it and show you what I've done today. And yeah, and then you'll have an idea of how you want to do it in your own game. If you want to make your own variation or version of this, I think that would be fun. I've given you sort of, I guess, the structure to do it any way you like. Like you could approach this any way you like with what I've done here today. So you could go a couple of different ways, which I think is a really fun way of doing it. Whether your players consider it fun is another story, but there's always a way out of a lot of these things. Like, will the tadpole erupting from the player's character and their chest kill them outright? Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Even if it does kill them, raise dead. Revivify in 5e exists. Reincarnate, why not? Just reincarnate time if you're not actually transforming into a SLAAD. I guess, this just assumes that your players have wound up becoming a SLAAD first, and now that their ability is to spread their SLAADness or their xenomorphness to somebody else. So let's go over this now and break it all down. So if you want to include a playable SLAAD or xenomorph into your Dungeons and Dragons 5e game, this is what I've got. Here's the fluff. The xenomorph uses a parasitic method of reproduction with a horrific developmental process. A xenomorph reproduces by implanting a humanoid host with tiny eggs. The infected humanoid transforms into a xenomorph, or a tadpole hatches out of its chest after 3 months. You've got two different choices. The xenomorph retains the personality, skills, knowledge, and memories of the original humanoid. So the SLAAD or xenomorph traits, so you replace everything that they had before with this, okay, if you're going to do this. The ability score increase is you increase one score by 2 points and a different score by 1 point. Otherwise, pick 3 different scores and increase them by 1 point. But some of the requirements is one of your ability score increases must be either strength or constitution. The creature type is aberration. You are large size. You have a walking speed of 30 feet. We didn't add a swim speed. Nobody seemed to be too concerned about that. Magic resistance, so you have advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical effects. Regeneration, you gain 10 hit points at the start of your turn if you have at least 1 hit point. Yes, I know it's overpowered. Natural weapons. You can make an unarmed strike with your claws or bite with a reach of 5 feet, doing 2d6 plus your strength or dexterity modifier slashing damage. As a action, you can make 2 unarmed claw strikes if you have nothing in your hands. Otherwise, you can make 1 claw attack or 1 bite attack as an action. The egg injection. If the target is a humanoid and hit by a claw attack, there is a chance that an egg is implanted into the target's body. The target must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or be infected. The saving throw DC is calculated by adding 8 to your Constitution modifier plus your proficiency bonus. It takes 3 months for the eggs laid in the target host to travel in the blood to the chest and grow into a tadpole before erupting from the host creature. In some situations, the host humanoid of the xenomorph's egg is completely transformed into a new xenomorph. The egg or tadpole can be discovered with the detect magic spell and destroyed by casting remove disease, a restoration spell, or the healing spell. Now only the wish spell can reverse the transformation. Languages. You can speak, read, and write deep speech and any languages you knew before transforming into the SLAAD or xenomorph. In addition, you have telepathy up to a range of 60 feet. And that is everything on the playable SLAAD or xenomorph that you could include in your game. I'll make sure it's up on Patreon. There you go. Wow. Got that done in a pretty good space of time. I think that was a good use of time. Got an hour in there. Did all of the hard yakka, and she's laid out. The Terminator, yeah, because the problem is people don't think the Terminator franchise is a horror because of Terminator 2, because it became an action movie, and a lot of people like the action movie, but it's never really worked. The whole idea behind the Terminator is the horror of advanced AI or artificial intelligence wiping out the world and taking control. That's the whole horror. It's a cautionary tale that not to go too far with our technology, that it winds up turning on us. Turn on the master. The master might have made it, but it's not the master that is going to become the most powerful. It'll be what it is deemed to be its slave. Have you used a playable SLAAD in your tabletop role-playing games? No, 75%. I'm not surprised. Not sure, 25%. Yes, nobody's done it in this out of 8 votes. Interesting. I don't think it's necessarily one of those things that is a hot topic for people nowadays, I would imagine. I'm just guessing. But anyway, I'm going to get going so that you can get on with your day and I can get on with my day. I need to go and sort out some stuff with the union before I wind up shifting over to part-time. Anyway, I want to say a big, huge thank you to everybody who's been watching and listening. Thank you for taking part in the poll. A huge thank you to all of you who provided some feedback in the chat. So Negative Space, Pale Rider. I believe we also had Fred Huber, who put in a whole bunch of ideas. DM Dungeon Mastery, thank you for being here today. And look, thank you to my patrons, because my patrons support me, and by doing so, I can keep doing this sort of stuff. And I would like to do this for not just D&D 5e. I would like to do it for other games as well. And that is my hope, okay? Inspire you to make your own stuff, homebrew to your heart's content. And don't worry so much about the fact you're not a professional designer, because professional designers make plenty of mistakes and don't particularly make very good stuff. So why can't you do it, So look, wherever you are in the world, whether it be the morning, the afternoon, or the night, please look after yourself, your family, and your friends. Be nice to your neighbours. And hey, till next time, keep rolling those 20s.